In religious texts like the Bible, Satan, also called Lucifer, was once an angel, cast out of heaven for rebelling against God. He's often depicted as a tempter, deceiver, and adversary to humanity.
Y'all giving away your power to a creature that wants to destroy you. So really, y'all living... How do I say this? You're giving power to your own worst enemy. Alright, living in that lower frequency and eating meats and stuff like that, it's draining you every single night when y'all go to sleep. It drains you. And you know what happens? And it's draining you from your red root chakra. Yeah. So, because it's here with us. That's how it survives. So all you people that claim to hate Satan and all that, you're keeping that motherfucker alive.
People at the street preachers. He started telling me about saving me and giving my life over to Jesus and everything. And he asked me a question, do you know what Satan's about? Because I told him that I didn't give my life to Jesus because I believe that God is in me. And he kind of got a little like shocked. And he was like, well, you know who Satan is? And I was like, yeah, I know who Satan is. I understand quite intensely what Satan is and what demons are and what darkness is. And he started telling me about Satan. I said, let me ask you a question. Tell me more about this Satan from your perspective. How intelligent is Satan? Now I know the answers to these questions. He's so intelligent. Satan is so smart that he actually is one of the smartest of all the angels. He's not even an angel, he's a cherubim. And everywhere he goes, music follows him. And he's right the right hand of God. He's almost as intelligent as God himself. I'm like, sounds like a high IQ. He says, yeah. I said, okay, interesting. Now, in this book, you're saying that Satan is going to follow this word to the letter that's written by man to his own demise. Oh yeah. I said, I think a being that's that intelligent, that's that whimsical and mystical and diabolic would probably orchestrate this curated text in a way that you would follow him to your own demise.
Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to watch a video, an AI video about who is Satan or who is Lucifer. Is Satan and Lucifer one and the same deity? We're going to find this out by watching this video. I'm here with my dad once more, but there is a disclaimer he wants to share first.
Yes, hi everybody. Happy to see and know we're being watched. But I just want to tell some people who might misunderstand us. We are just father and son discussing different topics without wanting to convert anybody or change anybody's mind. We're just having a conversation, and we want to share this conversation with other people so they might intervene with the conversation and also try to understand or have different opinions. It's just a conversation, it's just an intellectual, or some people think we are dumb, but that doesn't matter. It's just two people conversing together and wanting to share that with the world. So that's all I wanted to tell you. We don't want to hurt anybody, we don't want to disclaim anybody or do anything bad. We just want to talk about some topics.
Who was Lucifer? Lucifer, a name that evokes both mystery and fear, is often misunderstood. The Bible does not use the term Lucifer to describe a singular being. Instead, this name appears in a mistranslation of Isaiah, chapter 14 verse 12, which states, "How you have fallen from heaven, O shining one, son of the dawn, how you have been cut down to the earth, you who were disabling the nations." Isaiah chapter 14 verse 12, New World Translation. Here, the Shining One refers to the arrogant Babylonian king, symbolically likened to a bright morning star. This passage illustrates the downfall of prideful rulers, not Satan specifically. Who is Satan? Satan was originally one of God's perfect angelic sons, described in Job 1-6 as a son of the true God. However, his disobedience and rebellion led him to become the adversary, Satan meaning resistor. His turning point is described in Genesis chapter 3 verses 1-5, where he deceived Eve saying, "You certainly will not die, for God knows that in the very day you eat from it, your eyes will be opened and you will be like God, knowing good and bad. This rebellion marked the beginning of his campaign against God, setting himself up as a rival ruler over humanity. Revelation chapter 12 verse 9 confirms his identity. So down the great dragon was hurled, the original serpent, the one called devil and Satan, who is misleading the entire inhabited earth. What is often overlooked is the gravity of what Satan lost. As one of God's creation, he had unparalleled access to divine wisdom, glory, and purpose. Imagine the tragedy of a being once reflecting God's perfect qualities, now reduced to ultimate ruin. Proverbs chapter 16 verse 18 states, "Pride is before a crash, and a haughty spirit before stumbling." His fall was not merely about rebellion, it was the forfeiture of eternal joy and communion with Jehovah. Satan's existence now is not one of rule, as some might believe, but of ongoing degradation and impending destruction. Revelation 20:10 reminds us of his ultimate fate. The devil who was misleading them was hurled into the lake of fire and sulfur. Lucifer today, the lie that endures. Satan perpetuates the false idea of Lucifer as a majestic, misunderstood figure. This narrative glorifies rebellion, subtly drawing people away from Jehovah's truth. But Jesus exposed Satan as a liar and the father of the lie. John chapter 8 verse 44. A final warning. The story of Satan serves as a powerful reminder. Pride leads to destruction. By drawing close to Jehovah and rejecting Satan's influence, we safeguard our relationship with God. James chapter 4 verse 7 urges, "Subject yourselves to God, but oppose the devil, and he will flee from you." Curious about Satan's role in today's world? Explore how his influence impacts your life and what Jehovah's kingdom promises for the future. Watch more enlightening videos on our channel to uncover Bible truths that empower and inspire.
Okay, so what do you think of this summary of Satan? Does it match what you had in your mind? Is that something that how you perceive Satan in general? Does it align with the biblical context as you use the references?
Well, in mostly it does, yeah. It's just most people have a different view of Satan. They always think he's the red-horned little, with his big fork, evil being. But as the Bible describes him, he was a being of light. He was a part of God. So he's also very powerful. If you see how he can manipulate this world, which is his kingdom at this moment. The Bible states as well. What I've been seeing lately is, even in cartoons for very little children, that there's a change, and you see that they're trying to manipulate the smaller children to believing that Satan is the good guy and Satan is the victim. So that's one of his ways, trying to, in very, very subtle way, to influence people in doing things they normally wouldn't do. I did things in my life I'm not proud of, and but that shows you how easily you can be manipulated. And since I've been reading more in my Bible and looking more into these things, I can see that even before you act a certain way or you're going to do something, if you just step back 2 or 3 minutes, it's not long, 2 or 3 minutes, and thinking, is this really a good idea? What would God or Jesus or the Bible tell me to do? If you will not do it anymore, you will distinguish yourself from the evil. And that's why I think in this little clip they want to talk about that. You have the evil part, the fallen angel, that is very smart, that is very cunning. And then you have the good side, Jesus, God, who are also much smarter and much cunninger, but they give you the free will. You see, they leave you in making your own choice, because otherwise you would be a robot. But they give you the tools to do the good thing, like the Bible, like your religion. So that's in short why I love this, why I like this little clip. Yeah.
Okay, so if I think about Satan, I think about actually like 3 titles. One being the morning star, the second one being light bearer or light bringer, and the third actually also the light of the world, but not as prescribed to Christ in the Bible, but to Lucifer or Satan. And these are like titles you will come across. It's biblical and non-biblical sources that you'll find it, and it's like a reference of honor, someone that brings enlightenment to the world, that wants to guide you. But the thing that is interesting is that there is this belief in Mormonism or amongst the Jehovah's Witnesses. I would ask politely the community to correct me if I'm wrong, because I might be mistaken. Sometimes I kind of mix these things up. Is that they have this belief that, yes, indeed, Lucifer, Satan, is the son of God, just like Jesus Christ is the son of God, but as in two counterparts. So the one is all good, sinless, pure, cares about humanity, wants to save us, brings salvation, is the answer, King of Kings, Lord of Lords, while Satan actually comes in the same sense, in the same way, but it's the opposite direction you will be brought into. So it's kind of like deception, right? It also has the same feel and look, but the end result is the total opposite. It's like two extremes, like black and white, evil and good, light and darkness. But as you said, because human beings have the free will, they have to make their own decision which one they think or they believe is the right one to follow, if they want to commit or submit to following. And I think anybody that has the Holy Spirit with them or has been introduced to the Holy Spirit will automatically always choose for Christ, and automatically also see Satan for what he truly is, without having to go through the process of deception and trying to get out of it. Temptation, that's one thing, but being involved in that whole deception is another thing. That's like the next stage. But to come back on what Mormons believe or what Jehovah's Witnesses believe, is that they see that equally as a son. Do you believe that personally, that Satan, just as Jesus Christ, is also one of the sons of God?
I think so, because there are some references who try to influence us like that. I think as if you remember that Jesus was also tempted by Satan when he was in the desert fasting. The way he talks to Jesus is, in my view, is like you would talk to your brother. Like, you see, our Father has that power, but I have this power. This is mine. I can share it with you. I can give it to. It's like a family conversation. You see, it's not an entity and this talking to another entity. These are two beings, this talking to each other. One wants to influence the other one, and one wants to resist the influence, but. Also, it means that Satan is, if he even thinks he can influence Jesus, this perfect being, you have to think how powerful he must be to even think that. People underestimate him. People really don't understand. This is a being from maybe 1 million years old. We don't know. We don't know that. We don't know how old this Satan is. So he has seen everything that happened on the earth from the beginning, because in the beginning he was there as well. So he saw how God created this earth and these two beings, Adam and Eve, and the jealousy, the I don't know why. Maybe our brains are too small to understand, but something made him commit this crime of influencing Eve in being rebellious to God, and so therefore throwing away everything they had. A paradise where there was no evil, a paradise where there was no pain and no suffering, and where they didn't have to work from 9 to 5 to just eat something. No, it was a real paradise. So the short thing saying, I really think he was, we say a son, but I think he's family. He was family. He was a being, an entity, equal to Jesus in ranking order, because you've got angels and you got those different ranking orders. With God is the highest rank. So I think the two right hands of God was indeed Satan and Jesus, but Satan took the wrong path and Jesus went the right path. So, but this means, that's what I mean, this means that we have to be very, very, very careful, because he's very cunning, he's very smart. One of the biggest scams he does is a long time now. People are starting to reinvent him, like starting to understand, yeah, he's real. But there was a time, I think, like in the 60s, 70s, 80s, where I'm from, that people didn't think Satan existed. That was a myth. That was something created. But that was his plan, because if he doesn't exist, there is no influence. You understand? So that's how he works. But as I say, yeah, I think they're family. I think it must have been very painful for God as well, because if he is a part of God, he's a creation of God, it must have been very painful to see one of his descendants become this evil. But that's how it is. And but he also promises us, and when Jesus returns after the big war that is coming, that he will be thrown into the pit of fire. We don't know. I don't think it's real fire. I think it's sort of a prison where he cannot harm anyone anymore, where he's locked up with all the sinners and all the bad people that did horrible things in this world. I think they will all be locked up in this place, and it will be no party there, I'm sure, because that's also something Satanists wants to make us believe, that it's all sex, drugs, and rock and roll in hell. But I don't think it will be that. I think it will be hell to be there. Yeah.
Do you personally believe that Satan, Lucifer, and the devil, that they're all the same deity, or they're different deities?
I think it's the same being. But in time he got different names because of his different actions. But in the beginning, he was the morning star. He was the bright star in heaven, and then he fell. He became corrupt, and then he became Satan, the deceiver, the liar, and then he became Lucifer. He has many names. But his purpose is the same, trying to take away as many people with him as he can. He's also said in the Bible, he will go like a roaring lion, trying to make as many casualties as he can to pull them with him into hell. So yeah, but I think the different names, I think it is the same being, but with different names.
Because in older Middle Eastern traditions, like Mandeism or Zoroastrianism, coming from the Persians, like they were actually the first that brought monotheism actually to the Middle East. If you're not keeping in mind that the Egyptians also had monotheism before they started going into polytheism and stuff and the occult. It said that, they had actually two types of deities, one that could be perceived as Satan and the other one as Ahriman, but both weren't the same. They were similar in, let's say, symbolism and name meaning, but they were literally separate. And that's why I wanted to ask the question, because those traditions also build off this evil one, the one that comes, like an angel of light, but actually is, cunning, deceptive, and wicked, and doesn't love human beings, just doesn't give a
he hates us.
Human beings.
Yeah, he hates us.
And it's always, there is a pattern, and that's interesting to see. If we're just talking about Middle Eastern traditions in this context of monotheism, that it's about some type of vendetta against God, resentment against God, resentment against the creation of God, his creation. It's always something like there is some bitterness, and there is this authority and the need to prove himself or itself, and by doing all these things as a counter to what God does. If God brings life, gives life, cherishes life, while the other one wants to do the opposite, destroy it, take it away, poison it. And you can see this contrast going on in today's world. Even if you don't believe in Satan, or you don't want to believe in Satan, you will see these things happening anyways. So it is kind of, metaphorically speaking, a proof, or symbolically speaking, a proof that he does exist, because otherwise these things wouldn't be happening as we speak, right? And it would only be like in the Garden of Eden. There would not be corruption, like you said, there wouldn't be pain, suffering, death. All these things would not exist. It's once we got introduced to the world of Satan, where he is ruler and king. And not to forget, one of my favorite quotations of Christ throughout the Bible is when he actually says, literally, that you've got to be wary of the Satans of this world, not meaning the Satan with the big S, with the capital S, but Satans as his minions, the ones that serve him, the ones that are like his priests. Remember the high priest of Baal, for example, it's the same thing. So they kind of are in full servitude, they're in full submission. So they're identical to the identity of Satan, but they're not the Satan. They don't have the power and the dominion. They just are like the pawns, to the kingdom of Satan.
His minions. His minions.
He warns people for that. That's why he also refers to the Pharisees as, also like these, vipers and scorpions and all that, like things that we associate with negativity, things that bring suffering and pain and sickness. There's always this symbolism, and it all connects to one and the same entity that has this invisible governing power.
He is the ruler of this world. The Bible says so.
Exactly.
He is the one that decides what happens in this world for now, for this period. That's why all politicians and people with real power in this world, like the Klaus Schwabs and Bill Gateses, and why do they have so much power? Why can they do such horrible things in this world? Because he gives them these powers. He has the power to give them the power in this world.
Or even the influencers that are used as a front man or a front woman.
He uses them. He uses them to destroy the rest of this world. He hates humans, but he hates children even more. If you know that in the US alone, every year there's 1 million babies who are being killed by abortion, only abortion, while only 1% is by rape. All the rest is by consensuous sex, while there are so many contraceptions you can use. Why? Because he loves children to be killed. Why does he hate children more than grown-ups? Because they are innocent. They don't have any sin yet on them. They don't have the corruption in them. That's why he hates them, and that's why he wants as many as he can kill. He wants to kill. Same as the saying to get people off of religion is like, I hear some people that have tragedy in their lives. I had lots of tragedy in my life. It's not what I want to talk about, but I just want to say I know what I'm talking about. Why is God this bad? If he lets my children die, if he lets this, if he let that happen to me, why is that the good God? That's you hear that a lot, but that is a wrong thinking. It's not God. God cries every time a child dies, or every time something really bad happens to you where you cannot help it. God cries, but it's Satan who rules this world. It's him that does this. He lets it happen. He lets it happen. And you can say, yeah, but if God is almighty, why can he stop it? Because there is a plan. And we are too small to understand his plan, but there is a plan. And he will destroy this, but in time. We have to trust him. He knows what he's doing. And if it may be a consolation to anybody, I know a lot of atheists think, well, we live here and then we die and then it's gone. He promises us that when Satan is defeated, when Satan is in the pits of hell with all his followers and his minions, everybody that lived on the earth from the beginning till now will be resurrected, and will get a chance to live in Eden again. So all your family members, all the children that died, all the hardship that will be gone, will be done. So it is the only reason why this is happening right here on this earth right now. All these wars, all these crimes, it's Satan's doing. It will only become worse before it gets better, because he knows his end's days are coming. So he wants to get as many casualties as he can before his reign is done. That's all. That's why we know that they're trying to get a one world government, because he wants to sit on the throne of that government, and he wants to in that way he can really control the world, and get all the people like you, me, people who are religious. People may not believe me now, but be sure there will come a time where religion is forbidden. It will be totally forbidden, and anybody who follows a religion will be executed, will be or imprisoned, or so. Remind what I said now. Think, I don't know, maybe in a year, maybe in 2 years, maybe in 4 years. But not in 50 years. Our generation, that's a promise as well, our generation will meet the end times. We will see, and we will see Jesus return. But I'm really getting out there. But I mean, that's why I really believe Satan, Lucifer, Beelzebub, all these other. There are other evil gods, gods, angels actually. Like Baal, and these are also minions of Satan, but in a higher hierarchy. They are also beings we cannot physically see or touch. Yeah.
There is this. There is also like this thing that it's actually it's called the Holy Megillah, and it's part of the Nazarene Bible. And just to, for people that don't know what Nazarenes are, that actually is the branch or group or sect, to say it correctly, of where, Joseph and Mary and Christ and stuff, and John the Baptist and all came forth out of. So that's the tradition they came out of, the practices that was specifically bounded to them. So it's more a blood-related family tradition of their belief and their faith. And I remember, and that's something I can't forget. It's in their version of Genesis, and I have it with me. I mean, we can do a little deep dive later in the future if people are interested enough. It says that when Adam and Eve were dispelled out of the garden, right, because of the sin they committed against God, according to the Genesis of the Christian Bible. So that part is solid, that remains. There is no difference in that. But where there is a little extra to it is where they are roaming outside and they have to fend for themselves, because that's what they said. They were actually cursed, with a lot of things, burdens. I think a lot of people can remember, Eve was cursed with the pains of labor and birth that was promised to her, and Adam was cursed with working the sweat of his brows, so heavy labor to be able to sustain himself, and Eve and his offspring. These were promises God made to him, and this, you can see this as a curse or as a punishment for their sin. And while they're actually roaming the land, so outside of the Garden of Eden, and I remember that they already had their children, their three sons, I think it was. I don't remember which son by name, but I think it was Seth or one of the other Cain or Abel, I don't remember which one, but one of the sons, they went to fetch water from a brook, from a stream, and they saw, and this is crazy, and I'm not making this up, but they saw hooded, cloaked people or entities or deities, humanoids. I don't know if they were actual humans. They could have been fallen angels for all I know. They could have been the Nephilim, any type of being, but humanoid in shape and figure. They were cloaked, they were hooded, and they had a staff, a rod, and it had these two snakes coiling up, the ones that we talked about previously. And what one of these sons did was run back to tell his mother Eve about this confrontation. They didn't make any contact. They didn't, do anything to draw the attention, but they just were shocked to see other types of quote unquote human beings roaming the land that they never knew of, because they thought they were the only ones. Now, I'm saying quote or unquote human being because I don't know what type of deities they could have.
But they had the shape of humans. They had the shape.
The main thing is that they were cloaked. You couldn't see their faces, and they had the staff. Now, getting back to the point of what I made about the little Satans that Christ refers to in the Bible, to me personally, that is what he was talking about. These beings or entities were already present on the earth way before the creation of mankind. So they already had the dominion over the world. They were already doing and planning and plotting all these things. So it's like my dad said, if Satan is already older than anything we know, we don't know how old, then it makes complete sense that anything that comes forth out of him, that actually was already present before we came. And that confrontation is something I cannot forget. It's the first time I read about it was in 2014, and it's still in my brain like it was yesterday. So that has to mean something. And it's just interesting, but it shows the influence of the power of Satan and the dominion he has over the world, and it shouldn't be underestimated.
No, that is the biggest problem, that people underestimate evil. People always think, well, good will survive. Yes, good will conquer in the end, but the suffering from the start to the end may be harsh, really harsh, and mainly because people, maybe it's human-like, I don't know, but people cannot really identify with this evil. Because in the beginning we were not evil, we were good beings. So it's in our DNA maybe not to really want to associate and understand this evil, and that's what Satan uses against us, of course. So because no human is born a killer, or no human is born an evil entity. We become this because we indulge in things that are sinful, and some people more than others. And yeah, you see the result, what is happening on the earth at this time.
So, what do you think, as a piece of advice you could give people that believe in Christ to protect themselves from the influence of Satan? Do you have some advice, or?
Yeah, I do. What I'm doing the last few years is, if some like they say, you have the little devil on one shoulder and the angel on the other shoulder, and they're whispering in your ears. I remember a Kaffee cartoon where Haddock had these two, and they were trying to influence him. It's really that simple. If you hear this voice telling you, wow, you should do this, this looks really good, oh yeah, you're gonna enjoy this, always step back 2 minutes and think, is this really a good idea? And then if you can't get an answer yourself, look it up. Look up in the book of life, the Bible. Look up at the 10 Commandments. People forget, but the 10 Commandments are the soul of this universe. If everybody would do the 10 Commandments in the best they can, because we are sinners. I don't say I sin every day, every one of us, because yes, we're doomed to that. But if you can if you can get the sin down as much as possible by trying to follow the Ten Commandments, this world will be a lot of different. So if people feel like, I'm jealous that car, I want that car, but I can't have it, well, I'm going to scratch it. Think about that before you do it. Think about it. Or steal something. Think about what you're doing. I'm stealing this. I'm hurting somebody by stealing this. Or murder or rape or anything. Even small things like slapping somebody in the face. Why? Think about this before you do it. And that's my good advice. Always think, would I like people doing this with me? No, then I won't do it to other people. And that's the main sentence I used to tell everybody in my friends companies. They said, I always said, would you like people doing that to you? And if the answer is no, then don't do it to them. It's easy. And that's the beginning of the Bible. Love yourself, love your brother like yourself. And if you love yourself, you won't hit yourself, or you won't kill yourself, or you won't steal something from yourself. Understand? That's the main message I want to tell you about this old Satan stuff. That Satan makes things look very, very cool and rewarding. If you do it, you will be rewarded. You will feel better. You will be richer. You will get more power. He always uses this as a influence, but it's all short term. It's all very short term. So you always have to think. I may steal $1 million from somebody, and I will be rich. Yeah, but for how long? 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, and then you go to jail, or somebody kills you because you stole $1 million from the wrong guy. It accumulates. Understand? So try to stop the evil at the start, and you will be a much happier person. You also feel, well, that's what I feel. If you want to do something and you think, it's not actually that good, is it? But I still want to do it. And you can stop yourself from doing it. Afterwards, you will feel very powerful, very strange, but you feel so proud of yourself that you didn't do it. You understand that it gives you a euphoric feeling, an adrenaline, an everything feeling. Like, yes, I did it. I didn't do it. I'm powerful. I have power. I can stop this. You see, and that's what more people should try. Once you get that feeling, every time you stop yourself from doing something bad, it encourages you to do more like that. Understand? Same as if I see some poor guy, or here in Spain there's a very old lady, and it's really sad to see. I think she's abandoned by her family or something, and every day she sits at the corner where I go shopping for my food and my thing, and every day, before I gave something, because I was thinking, well, is she really poor, or is it some scam? So every day for a month, every day I came by, she always says, "Good day, sir. Have a nice day, sir." Always, nothing, asking anything. And then I started to, every time I go to the shop and she's there, I start giving her €5. €5 for me is nothing, but for her it's a different, because then she can eat that day, or she can get something that day. But the feeling you get from giving that €5, that is like a drug. You know, you're doing something good without any prejudices, without any other, you just want to do something good for a fellow being. And that's more powerful than any of the promises Satan promises you.
Yeah,
more.
I personally think that's the Holy Spirit working right there.
It is.
Because you don't need to You know, that's actually the one that guides you at that moment in time. It's not your ego, it's not your individual self, because it's something that you can't actually explain. It just, you know, it's the right thing to do. You don't have to question, you don't have to doubt, you just do it. And you know that has to be done, so you know who is guiding you. You know, that's what I believe, at least. And I have a final question: is, do you believe that anybody in time in the world, including yourself or myself, whomever, gets confronted with Satan at least once? Do you believe that everybody in the world gets confronted with Satan, just like Christ was tempted in the desert during the 40-day fast? Is that some people do or some people don't? Is it, or everybody just gets that time that you get confronted and then you got to make a decision?
I think everybody in his lifetime is confronted with Satan many times. Every time there's some bad influence trying to persuade you to do something, you are in contact with Satan at that moment, or with his minions or his helpers, little helpers. But I will think, and in certain way we are blessed to it, that our generation, we will see the battle between good and evil, the real battle, the battle of the heavens. We will see the army of Satan, like all the earthly armies, guided by the politicians and the power mongers. They will fight the heavenly army of Jesus. They don't have a chance. Yeah, they don't have a chance. Yeah. But we will be a witness of that. In one way, I'm afraid of what's coming, because I know people like you and me, we will have to go in hiding at the end, because there are a lot of bad things that need to happen first. Maybe that's a topic we can talk about sometime, about the end days and what are signs that the end days are here. Not just something somebody says, oh, I had a vision. No, real signs you can see with your own eyes that are happening today. But on the other hand, I'm very happy, because I will see. Yes, I will see it. I will see it in my own, and I will be the generation who will tell the children that are born in Eden, that never known evil or pain or suffering, how the old ways were. We will be the ones who have to teach Noah. The children. Yes. And that's a privilege. That's something you have to be proud of, that you will be that generation. So
one last thing. I recently saw a short of Kenneth Copeland. You know, it's the prosperity. It's the prosperity.
Evaluations. Yeah.
And I was kind of shocked, because I know the short is clipped and edited and all that stuff. Keep that in mind. It's basically him talking about what is to come for the future, and not going in detail. We're not talking about politics or whatever. But he's not making predictions, but he's actually tempting the congregation, like the crowd, to be all excited. But you don't know if it's going to be negative or positive. You assume it's going to be positive, right? Because he's speaking on behalf of Jesus Christ, right? But at the same time, it's an iffy thing. Like, what is he on about? What does he know more than the common people, right? And that's how Satan works as well, right? He presents himself all grandiose, but at the same time, nothing is good is going to come out of it. No good bearing fruit. But the point is, he said specific dates like 2025, and then he said 2026, and then he said 2030 and stuff like that. But at least from 2025 to 2030 onward. And he was talking about how long he would still live and be physically on this earth, God willing. But that's the thing. He used that. But at the same time, he was already hinted that there is things are going to happen. So that means that he's involved and he knows more. And he's tempting and teasing the crowd, pretending it's going to be a good thing. And that's something I just wanted to end with.
About talking about him. He's from Satan. He's a minion. He's a real minion from Satan. That's all I can tell. But nobody knows when this end time will happen. Not even the angels know. It's stated in the Bible. Nobody knows. Only the Father knows when the end times will be. But we are guided by the Bible to see the birth contraptions. We will see the start of, we will see the things, small things are being placed. That's something, and that's something he knows as well. But he knows because he made a pact with the devil, because otherwise he wouldn't be the billionaire he is now. But he knows his end times is coming too.
But I wanted to use that as a reference because we're talking about Satan as a topic, and the fact that he can actually pinpoint as a mortal human being when approximately he's going to pass on and he's going to meet his master is very weird to me, right?
It is.
Things like divination and witchcraft known in the occult, and you're just a vessel for the Lord. That's very weird to say, between 2025 and 2030, I'm going to meet my maker again, and there are going to be wonderful things that are going to happen.
Maybe he's lying, of course, because people like that, I don't really take them seriously. I take them seriously in what they say, but I don't believe everything they say.
No, but
you know what I mean?
The reason why I use him as a reference is because but talk about the Satan thing and the influence and the masses of people that are going with that. That's the point.
Yeah, it's really sad, but in America it's big, and there are millions of people who follow him. It's really sad. It's really sad. He's a real evil being, and there are a lot of evangelists in America, the TV evangelists, who make billions of dollars every year on these people. They only ask money, and people that only have a few dollars to spend, they still give these few dollars to those people. That's pure evil. But maybe he knows. Maybe he does know certain things. Maybe Satan lets him know these things because
that's why I said,
he says, and that's the day you will come to me, my friend, and then I will be your God. But everybody, it's a promise in the Bible. Everybody has to be confronted with their deeds they did on earth, and to show if they are really want redemption or not. And believe me, even the frauds, even the best actors in the world won't be fooling God. He will know if you're lying or not. So if you really inside your heart you feel sad that you did certain things and you really want to become the good human you were supposed to be, he will know. And he will also know if you're just faking it because you don't want to go to the warm place in the middle of the earth where Satan rules. He will know. But everybody, so even these people, even the evils, they will still get a chance. But they won't win because they are so rotten in the core. They sold their soul to the devil. So there's no way back for them. It's the same as when we talked in the future, maybe we can talk about the mark of the beast. Some people think, and it's a lot of things are this is that and this is, but when it's happening, we will know. When it happens, when we are at the moment when the mark of the beast is being distributed under the people, we will know that it is the mark of the beast. Because some people always say, but what if I didn't know it? What if I took it but I didn't know? Everybody will know. That's a promise God made. Everybody will know. If you take this, you choose the side of Satan. If you take this, you choose my side. Everybody. And what I wanted to say is that people who took the mark, anybody, they don't get a chance anymore because they choose. Understand? They choose their path. They sold their soul, and that's the what I wanted to say about that. Yeah, but it's like I said. Try to follow the 10 Commandments. Try to do your best to be the best human you can be. And you don't have to do good every day. You don't have to pray every day for 5, 6, 7 times. Just be a good person. And if you see somebody in need, just help him. And if you see somebody that is sad, comfort him. Those are things that make you happy as well by doing that. And just try it. Just try it. People who never tried it, just try it. Try to help somebody without any question, without asking anything back. Just try to, and see how you feel afterwards. That's something I want to give the world today, because that is something that is really, really short in these times. People helping each other, or people really caring about somebody. It's Satan's world.
Yeah. What I want to add to it as well is that I do believe that the battle between good and evil, light and darkness, has been going on from the beginning of time, and that we as creation, as humans, are stuck in the middle. And at this point in time, it doesn't matter when, where, how, who, you got to make a decision. You have to make a decision. You can't linger in between.
No.
Because the worst thing is that someone's going to make the decision for you. That's the worst thing. And it's going to be rather negative than positive, because that's how the world works. You think about corporations, organizations, politicians, and anybody who will make that decision for you hasn't got the best intent for you. They will pretend to, but they will not have that intent.
They are not your friend.
It's better to make that decision for yourself, but be guided, whether it's by the Holy Spirit or it's by Christ, or ask the Heavenly Father for guidance. But that's what would be my advice, how I would end this today. So
yeah, and don't think, if you're praying or you're asking guidance or you're asking God or Jesus for help and you don't get an answer right away, don't think he didn't hear you. He hears everybody. And maybe in a very subtle way he will help you, but maybe you won't notice that in the first instant. But afterwards, when you think about it back then, you say, yeah, it did happen. And I didn't have to suffer that or that. You see, it's like say, God works in mysterious ways. And it is like that. It is like that. I have a lot of examples. I'm not going to share them here right now, but I have a lot of examples that afterwards I smiled and I said, well, you did help me, didn't you? Yeah. So, and I'm grateful for that. With all the hardships and all the pains I have, I'm really still happy to be alive and to experience the things I'm experiencing right now, to have two healthy sons that I'm very proud of, and that's happiness as well. But you have to see it. A lot of people don't see that anymore. They only see the bad. They only see the negative influences. They don't see the good. So that's something else.
Try to see the glass is still half full and not half empty.